Hello everybody. Tonight we're going to talk about emotion, and I want you to consider how emotion affects knowledge, or how you obtain knowledge through your emotions. Today we talked a little bit about strength of emotions and different kinds of emotions, but now let's really think about how emotion is a good thing. So, we have primary emotions and we have secondary emotions. So when we see photographs of faces that display the primary emotions, they can be identified, the emotions can be identified from the looks or the pictures of the images and the shapes of the faces, regardless of the country. So it's kind of like an archetypal symbol that exists in all countries. When we see primary emotions depicted on images or on faces, on photographs, everybody can discern what exactly emotion somebody's thinking about. And so here's something else to consider, that children who are born both blind and deaf, they also show these emotions even though they've never actually seen them. So that brings up this whole idea of nature versus nurture and what happens with emotions and how we have outward displays of these emotions. And these are all in the primary emotions. So our primary emotions are the following 6 emotions, and many of you had discussed each of these emotions in the little cards that we created in class, and I didn't really see disgust. I think I saw surprise, but disgust also is one of those important primary emotions. So James Lange theory. James Lange, it's a theory, 2 different people, they worked together, and they both realized that there was a close connection between our emotions and our bodies. And so that makes emotion physical in nature. And so because of these physical, or because of our emotions, we have changes to the body. And we'll go over some of this a little bit more in detail in class. But basically this just means, it kind of goes back to the whole idea that if you smile, you'll be happier. And, you might think that's a little hokey, but there is some truth to that. And so with this theory, if we remove our outward displays of the emotion, then the physical symptoms to the corresponding feeling or emotion can go away. And so if, to use the same example that I was using earlier, if we say that if you smile, you'll be happier, people who are feeling down or depressed maybe, if they do things physically, if their behavior can mimic that of one who's in a better mood, then things actually can get better. And I can remember when I was if I'm feeling down or if I'm stressed, I tend to dress up. And not like overly dress up, but I might look a little bit nicer. Some people, when they're feeling down, they'll put on something that's really comfy, or want to wear sweatpants or something like that. Clearly in Hickory High, we can't really do that because you have a dress code. But studies would say that if you look nicer, then you would feel better as well. And so what we can do is try to scowl, and maybe we'll feel hangry. I think you'd have to do it for a long period of time in order for that to really take some kind of effect. I don't think it's immediate, but it is something definitely to consider. So with James Lange theory and empathizing, what oftentimes happens is that as we talk to people and they're feeling a certain way, we tend to mimic the behavior of the people that we are having this conversation with. And so that's why we like to be around happy people. Happy people make us happy. And that's why Debbie Downers aren't so nice to be around sometimes. Makes us feel yucky. So Plutchik, he's another guy. He had another theory of emotion. And so with this, Robert Plutchik would talk about our emotions, and he would try to explain actually how they work. And so he said there was a basic set of emotions that all people experience, that it expands that of the James Lange theory and expands that of the primary emotions. And so he says that there's an innate and directly related existence between that of emotions and our adaptive behaviors and how we change behaviors. And so basically he designed a model that would help us to enhance our survival in the same way that the fight or flight response is designed to help us to survive. And so let's take a look at this. So adaptive behavior, this is the kind of behavior that is used to adapt to another type of behavior situation. So it's characterized by a kind of behavior that allows an individual to substitute an unconstructive or disruptive behavior to something more constructive. So when we're trying to cry and we're making that awful cry face because we're really, really trying not to cry, that is an adaptive behavior. And what's interesting is that if we did not try to adapt it and change it, we could just cry and then we wouldn't make that really, really ugly cry face. Try to see if you can find some ugly cry faces online and bring them in tomorrow in class, and we'll see if we can have some fun looking at that. So most often it's a social or a personal behavior. Most often it's because we personally don't like to do something that makes us feel uncomfortable, or we're doing it because we're in a social situation where it's not acceptable. It can be refocused on something that creates or builds something, and the behavior can be adapted to something else. Basically, I mean, another idea would be when people get mad and they'll punch a wall rather than punch a person, because that's not acceptable. Just another idea. So here, we have some emotions or feelings over here on the left. And so our possible stimulus or cause for it, we have here anger, for instance. You might be angry because you're prevented from doing something that you would like to do. And so what you want to do is destroy the thing in your way so that you will no longer be angry. We want to get rid of that. That was supposed to do something that it did not do. Here we go. I can do this. We want to get rid of the anger. And so that's why we destroy the thing in our way. With fear, any threat or danger, you protect yourself so that you can get rid of the fear. With sadness, you might lose something or someone who is important to you, and so you will search for help and comfort in order to get rid of the sadness. With disgust, something is awful. Food, maybe you don't like feta cheese because you think it smells like feet, and that's why it's called feta with feet cheese. Some people actually say that, and so you reject it or you will physically push it away so that you can get rid of the disgust. And then surprise, we will focus on something new, focus on this new idea with really, really wide eyes so that you can take in all the light because it's really pleasing. And so this one is not really to get rid of it. We like it, and so we want to take it all in as much as we can. So that's all I have to say about emotion tonight, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.